Is there usually a countdown or we just jumped right in?
I think it just jumped right in. I think we are live, Mike, if you want to take it away.
Awesome. All right. We are live. Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Bunker Live. We're a weekly live show brought to you by Bunker Labs, a national network of veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs dedicated to helping the military connected community start their own business. 25% of transitioning service members want to start a business, and they need places inside their community where they can connect with the people, resources, and support they need. I hope everybody's having a great morning out there hustling in your ventures. And today we've got a very special guest, our fearless leader within Bunker Labs, Mr. Blake Hogan, the chief executive officer. Blake, thanks for joining Bunker Labs Live today.
Mike, what's going on, brother? Thanks for having me. It's like I love this stuff. It's like I almost get to see people in like 3D. So I feel like I'm getting out of my little studio here in Nashville. So yeah, man, I think the last time you and I were together was in New York on Wall Street, and you like busted up. And so I'm super pumped to reconnect and get out. And so yeah, what's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to Nashville. This is your show, Mike. So you tell me how you want to roll.
Yeah. So obviously, a lot has changed in the last year. You know, America has been dealing with the pandemic. Bunker Labs has had to shift to virtual events, and we're having to rethink how we engage the community and pull people in. And so, one of the first things I would like to do is, if you could just describe to our audience what exactly is Bunker Labs and why do we exist?
Yeah. Thanks, Mike. We exist to empower the entrepreneurial dreams of the military connected community. So if you're listening to this right now and you are part of the military community, whether it's a spouse, active duty, guard, reservist, and you've got an idea or you've got a company that you want to grow, we want to be the network to help you do that. And we want to help you do that all across the country. So we operate in 40 communities around the country. And for the longest time, I think, we started Bunker with this really simple idea that if people could get in front of the right people, the right resources at the right time, it could change their world for the better. So what we do now is run these core programs, these cohort-based programs to help entrepreneurs launch and grow. So at a super high level, I'll share kind of two of them today, and then we'll have a chance to sneak peek some of the other ones coming down the pipe. But our Veterans in Residence program, which they'll be culminating tomorrow at the pitch competition, 1 p.m. Eastern time. So register for that. We'll see that. Veterans in Residence is for early stage entrepreneurs. It's a 6-month business incubator. It's geographically based. So if you've got traction, you've got a little bit of users, you've got some revenue, and you want to grow that, that's happening in 21 locations around the country. In WeWorks, and then also with the virtual option. So think of that as your small unit that you had in the military. So this is your squad. These are your fellow teammates that are going to help you launch and grow. So not only will you be connected to the group, in DC, but Atlanta and the Bay Area and Boston and Chicago and Nashville and Austin. So you're not doing this alone. Our next group is CEO Circle. So CEO Circle is a 12-month mastermind for companies that are scaling. We've got a handful of CEO circles right now that we're piloting through the end of this year. And towards the end of the year, you'll start to see CEO circles launching that are industry based. So I'll do a little sneak peek, but if you're in the federal government, defense space, or consumer packaged goods space, those are a couple that we're looking at. So if you've got a company, you've got real revenue, you're really trying to scale it, and you're like, look, I would love to be a part of a group of 10 or so individuals getting together quarterly, getting on a plane, going across the country, meeting with each other, then send up a flare, let us know, because those applications will be coming out here later this summer with an end of the year start. So but here, if you're hearing about Bunker for the first time, think of it as a community of entrepreneurs where we run cohort-based programming. And you can either join or apply that to be a part of one of those cohorts, or you can support one. So you can support one as a facilitator. You can support one as an ambassador in your local community. You can support one as a corporate leader, and you can get engaged. And you can connect either locally, in person, or online. So So that's what Bunker is. We want to make it super easy for you to engage with our cohort programs. And for those that you're like, those sound really great, I'm not ready for that, go to bunkerlabs.org, click on Launch Lab online, and start testing your idea. The best thing that you can do is spend zero money, build something that's really cheap and really ugly, and see if somebody other than your family will buy it. And if so, then you're onto something. So if you're on active duty right now, or maybe you're working a corporate job right now and you're thinking like, hey, I want to test out my third shift, go ahead and do that. And then we'd love for you to go throughout that Bunker journey and join one of the cohort programs. Or if you're an established leader and you want to just get engaged and start giving back, we want to encourage you to support one of those core programs.
In this day and age of information overload, right? So there's all these different programs, accelerators, incubators, you name it. And I think the community can sometimes feel slightly overwhelmed. So when you think about us as an organization at Bunker Labs, what is it that sets us apart, from a lot of the other organizations beyond just the obvious stuff, the military connected nature of it?
Yeah, absolutely. Great question. Look, number one is like, we made the decision early on that we weren't going to be a for-profit tech-based accelerator, right? And so we've got companies from, mobile goat mowing to UVC air filters to folks that I think could be the next like $1 billion unicorn. But what I think sets this apart is that this is a community of people that, number one, have your back, and number two, are willing to push you to see you succeed. So when you join one of the cohort programs, like, it's not that, Bunker's going to now like write a check, or you're going to immediately get a bunch of venture capital. Like, first of all, most people don't get venture capital, and that's a myth. But what is different about this is like, we're in this boat as well. So like, I'm a small business owner, Mike's a business owner, we're doing this as well. So we're just like, we're in this fight as well. Like, as an organization, we want to continue to learn and hear what's getting better, or what we can do and get better. But like, at its core, it's this group of people that are just like here to see you be successful. And because we're a nonprofit, and because we're not taking an equity stake, we get to be uniquely unbiased. So we get to help folks, get one or two customers that change, their world, or we get to, help somebody that's scratching an idea on a pad of paper, and they're in, I don't know, Germany right now on an army base thinking about what they're going to do next. So this is your community. And I'll say one more thing, Mike. Like, when folks, I think, maybe think about this, they think, oh, well, that's like just the veteran thing. The whole reason we started this was because our network sucked. Is because we got out of the military and we had our military connections. So there's a reason you'll see Bunker continue to focus on these smaller cohort-based programs, because it gives the community something to rally around, right? So that's what we are trying to do, is to like make it super easy to engage and support entrepreneurs and like have a great time doing it.
So I know we just shifted to this really cohort-based model, and we've already been doing cohorts, but really doubling down, tripling down on it. And as you look at the landscape moving forward, of coming on the other side of this pandemic, the feedback we've been getting from the Entrepreneurial Insight Study, and the challenges entrepreneurs are facing out there, where do you see us headed as an organization, and how do people most benefit from it?
Yeah, thanks, Mike. I appreciate that. So when we were in the height of this pandemic, thanks to Liz Marion and team, we launched this all-in campaign. And the idea was to kind of do three things: was immediately respond, then move into a recovery phase, and then move into a rebound phase. And so we're in that rebound phase, and I pray, I think our country is in that rebound phase, and that we can really start getting back at it. But like the quote from Margaret Mead, like, never doubt that a small group of people can, I'm gonna butcher it, but like, can make a difference. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has. Like, we know that from the military, right? We know that like your buddy team, your fire team, your squad, your platoon, like that unit is what's going to get the job done. So what we're saying from a Bunker standpoint is like, let's marshal all these resources to these small units, so that a community in Columbus, Ohio knows that, hey, they've got a veterans in residence. That pitch competition is Wednesday, 1 p.m. Eastern time, and they can connect with the Veterans and Residents group in Columbus, right? Or they can go to Bunker Online and know I can connect with a small group of leaders in the consumer packaged goods space and support them. The whole reason we started all this was to navigate, make it easier to navigate. People cite the World War II analogy where you had 60 million veterans and half of them came home and started businesses and that's helpful. But if you just think about it from a density standpoint, the entire country was a part of the war effort. So if I wanted to go into media, you and I would have gone to the American Legion. I would have met you there. We would have beer and we would have been hey, what do you how'd you get into this? Right. Well, now we're, even as a Marine, I can figure this out. Less than 1% is in the military. We got a whole big population that's not, and we need to get connected to all those folks. So for everybody that's not part of the military, I want to say, hey, there are these really amazing small units of leaders around this bunker organization. We want to make it super easy for you to bring your expertise, your relationships, your capital to support them.
One thing I would like you to talk about, Blake, is for what we're doing here at Bunker Labs, this is still kind of relatively new, right? At a national level, you might have had the veteran entrepreneurial circles, in your local community, et cetera. This is the first time having a focused, concentrated effort on providing entrepreneurial resources to the veteran and military spouse community at large. And part of doing something new means you break things, right? You're still kind of figuring it out. We're learning. But I would love for you to emphasize that, as an organization, we get up and we always think, how can we better serve the veteran and military spouse entrepreneur community, and how we take that responsibility on, and how important it is, for us to kind of make those mistakes until we get it right.
Yeah. Look, absolutely. So one of our core values is to be fearlessly authentic. So if you ask any one of our teammates, they could easily point to a number of things that I have gotten wrong or made their lives more difficult. And I'll say that part of my my leadership style, I don't know, part of this is being a Marine, but it's that's okay, because we have a bigger vision and a bigger mission. And some of the choices that we make, over the course of this last year, or, even just as you think about as a growing organization. So think of companies that are older. So we're 6 going on 7 years. So it's we're going through some of those growing pains ourselves. And I think it's just coming at it from a super honest point of view that this thing is bigger than any one of us. It's, it's we're putting together that green book to, to put over the turnover binder for that next unit. The difference is our next unit is about creating something that is sustainable, because our big vision is that the military becomes the catalyst of success for you as an entrepreneur. So if you're 16, 17 years old right now and you're thinking, what am I going to do? And you're seeing all these amazing entrepreneurs like yourself and others all around the country, and you're oh, the common thread is they were all in the military. That becomes a national defense opportunity. It becomes a way to rebuild our economy. It becomes a way to rebuild our communities. It becomes a way to create jobs. It becomes a way to create community. So, I'm okay with getting things wrong, because what we're still moving it forward, and that's what matters. And so, yeah. So and you all are doing that as well, and that's important, because I think about some of our veterans and residents companies. So, I think about Chris Barnes in Atlanta with Heavenly and Handy. So Chris is, he's got a landscaping and construction company. So his goal is to create this regional company, right? And so he is, part of the VIR, Veterans and Residents in Atlanta. So if you're just listening, that's a 6-month business incubator, geographic based. And if you haven't heard the pitch competitions tomorrow, 1 o'clock Eastern time. But Chris, so Chris joins the cohort. He was a Navy corpsman, very special relationship that we have with them as Marines. And he's look, I've been a part of all these other, organizations, and this is different because I know these people truly believe in me, in my success. So Chris calls me up the other day and he says, hey, we're full up. All of our appointments are full. We're trying to figure out how to grow and do that. it's like, and now we started doing like, these cool like construction projects where we'll build a pergola and we'll build a set of like Adirondack chairs, and like he's creating all these products along with it, right? And so like what I think is interesting to me is, Bunker's not doing anything, super, uniquely different with Chris in Atlanta, other than making sure that there is a space to like dream, there's a space to grow, there's people to be like, hey dude, that's like a terrible idea, have you thought about these things? And it's like simple stuff like that. It's like, okay, cool, now he can like start a line of chairs in addition to his landscaping company. So like if there's a seasonal cyclicality to the business, he can be selling products along the side, right? And so what I think is interesting is like for all of us in this moment, like what is constant is that we will continue to have challenges. What is constant is we will continue to have, change it where we need to react. And, we can try to create as many knowns as we possibly can. But as entrepreneurs and as folks in the military community, we have this unique advantage of being comfortable in the gray area and like working to figure out how do we just move forward. I think about Gable Eaton, who's also part of that Atlanta group, right? He's based out of Chattanooga, so he joins our virtual one. Gable has a product called Tech Touch, so TEQ Touch. He designed it in 2017, and think of like a rubber thimble that you put on your finger that you could use for a public touchscreen, so like a grocery pin pad or gas or ATM. So 2017, it was like, that's interesting. Like 2020, like, like I need that. And Gable is, at the time was trying to figure out how does he fund this? How does he make this happen? And, long story short, through his hard work and building a solid plan and, getting, customers excited about it, we were able to connect him to some resources to help grow that. But it's like, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, Gable could have thrown in the towel, right? And now he's got the biggest orders he's ever gotten. He's now like building this sustainable platform, and he's doing it on his terms. And I think that's the important thing is for folks to figure out, like, when you're leaving the military or even just being part of the military culture, you're not often thinking about what's in your own self-interest. And I think there's a big difference between like self-interest, being selfless, and being selfish, right? Self-interested means like you clearly have a goal and you have a place that you want to go. Like I'm very clear that I want to be a billionaire. I want to be a billionaire so that I can make the impact that I want to make in this world. And I realize that it takes resources to do that. Like I grew up, single mom, like blue collar, the whole deal. And because of this country, because of the Marine Corps, I've been able to continue to move forward. So I think when you're getting out or when you're thinking about like what's next, not only is it okay, but it's imperative for you to think about what matters to you and what kind of lifestyle do you want to live and where do you want to live? And, do you want to go through the hassle of trying to launch a bunch of companies or are you much smarter and more content than I'll ever be and be like, hey, I want to run this like amazing company in, Kansas City, and I want to have, 6 employees and, have a cabin. Like, it's like, and all of that's good. And I think it's just important that people take the time to think about what's really important to them, especially with all the shit that's gone on this last year. It's just really easy to be like, you get sucked into whatever, you get super busy, we've got like all these amazing examples. Like I think about, Zephyr Hansen with Hampton Farms and, in Denver, right? Like Z is creating these backyard farms and, and it's not just about like cool, lavender and products and how to create a successful, like kind of micro agriculture. It's about impacting her community. It's about bringing, Black leaders into farming and into agriculture and into entrepreneurship. And it's like understanding what is that for you? Like we all have a different thing and taking that time and space. And I would hope that would be the experience that makes Bunker Labs different than something else. Because there are amazing programs that I would highly suggest, like Techstars and Y Combinator, entrepreneurs organizations, YPO. What we want to do is be a place for you to land to get connected, to get engaged, and navigate your way through. And like by definition, as like a goal of ours is to be an ecosystem builder, and an ecosystem by definition means you come and go at different times and different places, and not only is that good, but like that's encouraged. And so I don't know, Mike. Now I'm like on this soapbox here, so I'm going to turn it back over to you because I'll just keep going.
What I want to do is, especially while we have you here, and this might take us a little bit longer, but for those that are viewing in, please feel free to drop some questions in the chat for Blake. And while we wait for those questions, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and give a book recommendation for the week. And I want to go ahead and highlight Mike Michalowicz. Let me get my camera. Fix This Next, right? Many of you might know Mike from his book, Profit First. And this is just a great book in a sense of when you think about as entrepreneurs, at any point in time, we're trying to balance multiple things, right? It could be sales, it could be customer retention, it can be this, it could be that, right? And in the book, one of the things he breaks down is this concept of the business hierarchy of needs. And the thing that you need to focus on in your business is the biggest thing that's like holding you up. And he gives you like a step-by-step process to identify like that focus effort. So example, I produce podcast, okay? The thing I realized, I was getting overwhelmed managing all the different shows, the clients, the onboarding. And I realized the thing that I could do to get everything more streamlined was focus on the podcast workflow itself. And that was like the bottleneck right there in a sense of like, how are we organizing these interviews? How are we structuring it? What does the project management look like? And because of this book, I dialed that in and I built out our whole project management for a podcast, for Bunker Labs Live, all of that stuff, right? So I highly encourage you. Here on the back of the book, you can see the business hierarchy of needs. He has sales down here at the bottom, profit, order, impact, and legacy. And at any given time in your business, you can pick what you need to focus on. So you might be growing, you might be having a lot of money, but stuff is breaking down. And then you realize, hey, you might have a systems problem going on, right? So you need to dial in your systems, or, money, right? You're having cash flow issues. It's like you're working hard, but you're not being able to pay yourself. You're still eating ramen noodles. You're like, what's going on? And so I have a profit thing. And then you start thinking about legacy and impact. So really, really want to recommend this book. And the other thing he talks about too is it's called Omen. And this is the process. So anytime you identify what needs to get fixed, the first things he talks about is objective. Like, what is your objective? Then how are you going to measure it? How are you going to evaluate whether or not it was successful? And then how are you going to nurture that to keep that going on? So again, Mike Michalowicz, Fix This Next. You'll probably see me plugging a lot of his books because I'm just a fan of him. I think he's like a millennial version of like the Jim Collins. So check this book out. And while we do that, are there any questions in the chat before we let Blake go? I don't see any questions yet, so I'm gonna ask you one more, Blake. For those that engage the Bunker ecosystem, let's say 5 years ago, right? Yep. Or the ones that applied for veterans and residents and maybe didn't get it, or say, you know what, I really wasn't feeling Bunker Labs. They had these expectations, and for whatever reason, we're still a growing organization. What would you say to those that are tuning in, that experienced that, or
Yeah, I appreciate that. Like number one is like, we're human, we're going to screw things up, and I'd love to have you back. Number two is we're moving forward aggressively to support small groups of entrepreneurs in a very direct way all across the country. So like, if you had like a from and to slide, like from was like events, like ecosystem building through events, right? So in 2019, we did over 200 live events. We had something like 15,000 people at live events. 2020, the world's like, hey, live events, great idea, not going to happen. And so like a two slide now would be ecosystem building via programs. So like, it is less sexy. Absolutely. I'll argue it's a hell of a lot more impactful, because in the past, Mike, you'd said, if you'd be like, hey, how do I get involved? My answer would have been, come to another event. And I think it was super important to like build that brand and to build that scale and to be able to have these touch points and communities around the country. but we couldn't measure it. We didn't know, and more importantly, we couldn't get feedback from participants to say like, what do you need and what's relevant versus like, well, we've got a great idea. So what you'll continue to see going forward is a much more narrow focus on running really great programs, doing the OODA loop, getting lots of feedback, and continuing to make things better. And I think it's simple as that. Like there are some people that are never going to be happy, and that's like, I don't have time for that. Neither does anybody else. One of the things that we have as a value is to be magnanimous and self-aware. So like, and I, as a Marine, well, number one, I couldn't spell magnanimous and I had to look it up, but it means like to be the bigger person, right? To know when to like walk away or know when and so yeah, I'm sure we've done things that haven't been awesome for folks. And I'm also wholly confident that we've changed people's lives. And like, I refuse to be on the defensive at all. Like, we have an awesome mission. We have talented people. We have great leaders on the ground that are doing their damnedest every day to try to move things better and do it in this, crazy environment. So I would say, like, we're open for business. We want to help your business grow. And I'd love the opportunity to be a part of their dreams and help them get to the next level.
Well, Blake, I appreciate you for taking some time to join us here on this newly launched Bunker Lab Live, where this gives us an opportunity to just really engage the community. I think right now people need support. They need more engagement, and so this is just a way for us, to come from behind, the curtain and the Wizard of Oz and get out there and let people know what's going on.
Mike, can I do an audible? Can I go grab a book? I'm grabbing a book.
Absolutely. And while Blake's grabbing a book, I'm gonna go ahead and turn over to my co-host Amy, and Amy's gonna give you all some highlights of what's going on in the bunker this week.
So much stuff going on in the bunker this week. If you hadn't heard earlier in the episode, Veterans in Residence pitch competition is tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. So check that out. We also have on Thursday, May 6th, we've got a town hall with Beth Feinbo, who was just on Shark Tank. So she's going to be talking about how to use the Bunker Labs ecosystem for exponential growth and get your butt on Shark Tank. We also have on Friday, Military Spouse Appreciation Day. Yay, military spouses. So we're having a roundtable. We're having a virtual roundtable on Friday at 3 p.m. Eastern featuring Liz and some other members of the military spouse community here at Bunker Labs, talking about the unique experience of being a military spouse. And then also on Thursday, real quick, Blake's going to be at the in-person Nashville Bunker Connect. So if you are in Nashville and you want to hit up Blake in person,
and our Veterans in Residence cohort will be there. So you get a chance to meet the stars of the show.
Yep. So get connected this week. For more information on all of those, we've got links in the chat, and also go to chapters.bunkerlabs.org for all upcoming events.
All right. I'm going to turn it back over to Blake. I know he's got a book recommendation for you all out there.
All right. So this one's called Family Inc. And this is about like personal, it's using your business principles to maximize your family's wealth. And so, like I said, like I didn't know anything about money growing up as a kid. Like, money was a taboo thing or an evil thing, and then we never had any of it. So this book is actually written by our board chair, Doug McCormick. I love you, Doug. Admittedly, it's a bit of a dry read, but it is really good stuff. So there's a website, Family Inc. So if it's giving you this whole construct for planning out your family, like, money strategy, right? So we spend all this time putting together a budget for our business and like setting up the right bank accounts and like being sure that we've got reserves, and we're trying to figure this out. And oftentimes we don't do that for our own families. So it's really like thoughtful approach of like, if you're looking at going back to school, like, how does the investment work out? Like, what is it going to set you up to do? And taking like your goals of like, I'd like to buy this house, or I'd like to do this thing, or like, just thinking about being really smart. It's just like tactical, practical stuff. And the Family Inc. website is great because you can go in and like plug and play different scenarios of like, all right, well, if I'm going to take 2 years to build this thing, what kind of runway do I need? Or if I'm going to continue this job for another 18 months, what do I need to be able to put aside to be able to do this? So it's Family Inc. You can get it on Amazon, and it's just like, it's the stuff of like doing a will and doing insurance and doing all these things that are kind of like we just like put off and put off and put off. At least I do. And this was like, okay, got it. We're doing this. It's really like cleaned up how we think about stuff like as a family, and it's just like it's exciting to have that level of clarity. And it's like I wish I would have started this stuff when I was like, I don't know, at least in high school. But anyway, great book there.
So I'm watching the chat, and people are really digging these book recommendations. We got some people asking, say, hey, can we get a Bunker Labs recommended reading list? And so one of the things that I'm going to promise is I will draft a blog post of 10 books that I recommend. And for those that you're tuning in, all I ask in return is for you to subscribe and download the Transition Podcast. This is a great way to create some peer-to-peer learning just like this. We're all entrepreneurs. We're all in the hustle just like you. And we're sharing best practices. And one of the things you start to realize is when you have people that are just a few steps ahead of you, they can help you navigate a lot of those mistakes. And so, like I said, I'll go ahead and commit personally to doing a blog post on some book recommendations. And all I ask is that you subscribe and download the Transition Podcast. And
Mike,
now,
sorry, I'm like having fun, and I know we're over time, but I'm going to keep going.
You're good.
Anyway. So I see Frank's in Who's in Pittsburgh. This crayon eater will be in that area and attending the Bunker Labs Connect event. So we need to get Frank connected to Nate Moreno and team in Pittsburgh. And then I've got a book request. So I just ordered the book. It's on my nightstand. I've gone through some of the other books from Brad Feld, but the current one is Evolving an Entrepreneurial Ecosystem. So if anybody's read the book yet, I would love to get your thoughts as we go through the next evolution of how we as an organization help community leaders build ecosystems locally. I would love thoughts from folks that have read those books, have done that kind of work, and they're excited about that kind of work because we're going to continue to double down on our ambassadors and as we move forward. So I just ordered it. I just got it in the mail the other day. So if anybody's already gone through that, let me know. And more importantly, what your thoughts are about how that matters to your communities.
Yeah. Brad Feld is a great author. I think he did the venture capital book. I forgot what it was called.
Oh yeah. Venture Deals.
Venture Deals. And then he's got the startup community. So he's definitely a thought leader. So Blake, I think you wanted to go ahead and give a shout out to our sponsors. You want me to have me do it? I'm open to either.
I would love to. So MetLife and Gannett, MetLife has been a part of this from the early days. Like, I don't know how many musters were canceled in Raleigh-Durham to hurricanes and pandemics and what have you. But MetLife is a company that has been around for generations and has supported Bunker Labs from the beginning. Truly thankful for their support. I know they've been a part of these shows in the past. I'd love to have some folks back on, and maybe one day soon we can actually get back together, in Raleigh-Durham. And then Gannett. So if you don't know, Gannett, one of the larger media and publishing companies in the country. So USA Today here in Nashville, we've got the Tennessean. A really amazing organization launched this challenge called Community Thrives, which was this local-led initiative to have entrepreneur organizations and leaders supported during this pandemic. We were thankful enough to have some local leaders in Chicago support that, and then was picked up by Gannett. So I'm looking forward to seeing, like on the front page of USA Today, like the cover of it being all about our veterans and residents companies. So I'm just putting like a soft plug out there to USA Today to say there's 160 entrepreneurs right now that are in the game doing this. So you pick who you want to tell them. Let's put their face on the cover of USA Today.
Awesome. I'm going to turn over to my co-host for today, Liz Marion up there. Liz, you going to go ahead and close us out for this Bunker Lab live session?
I am. I know. Which corner am I on? Also, I'm going to do another plug for the Transition podcast. Please subscribe to the Transition podcast, which is led by none other than Mike Steadman on here. It is demystifying the experience for veteran and military spouse entrepreneurs. And some of those episodes are from the entrepreneurs that Blake mentioned today. So you should definitely check that out. It can be found anywhere that you listen to podcasts. Just search for it. Also, it's all over Bunker Online. If you want to join our online community, we encourage you to go to our website, bunkerlabs.org. Click on that big orange connect button up to the right and connect with all of us on the community. There are thousands of entrepreneurs if you need any more inspiration after today. I want to thank Blake for taking some time out from his schedule to be with us today and to tell us what's going on with Bunker. Mike Steadman, always the host, to the hard guy to follow. And Amy, thank you for letting us know about everything going on. Amy did not mention the multiple other events that are going on this week. So we encourage you just to check out the website on that events tab to check out an event near you, in person or virtual. And with that, I will thank everyone for joining us and connect with us on all of our socials, and we'll see you next week.
Bye, everyone.
Thanks, all.
Bye.